Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beast Coast Live. Here from the Bayshore Athletic Club in Braintree, Massachusetts. This is round two. Hopefully, we'll be up and running. Live TV's crazy, folks. It can happen at any time. Tonight's guest is Derik Oslan, IFBB Pro 212 competitor. And here's Derik. Just going to take a second, folks. Hello, Derik. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello, hello.
Hello. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. I'm feeling pretty good.
This is going to take a couple, just the way the medium works, it takes a couple minutes to actually catch up to see if we're in sync.
Yeah. Yep, no problem.
Just wanted to,
I'm just glad it worked. I wasn't sure. I've never done the whole Facebook Live thing, so.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different because we're going to be getting comments from a live audience, theoretically. So if you see some comments that
theoretically,
questions,
yes,
answer them. Some, of course, it's live. You're going to have to ignore. And this is for this will be the first episode for Muscular Development Magazine.
Perfect. Hello, Muscular Development.
So, you've had a great season.
Yes, sir.
2018.
Are we good? Are we delayed? Is it all right?
Just waiting.
Perfect. I did the Tampa Pro in August, and I placed second there. And then we did the Legion Sports Fest in Long Beach, and I came in second there. I lost each show by 3 points. It stinks, but we were right back at work, making sure we're ready for 2019.
Yeah, both shows you came in second to some very good guys, Sean Clarita and Nicholas Vallad, if I'm pronouncing Nicholas's last name correctly.
Yep.
Both of those guys are tanks, so you did pretty well.
It wasn't easy. But obviously I enter each show confident that I have what it takes and I'm good enough to win and that I'm good enough to stand on the Olympia stage with the best of them. And that's what I'm looking to prove in 2019. So we'll actually be starting prep in about a month. So I'm excited because, man, I am sick of eating. I am sick of food. But, that's part of what you signed up for. It's what you got to do in order to get better.
So I'm going to go back on that because a month. I'm figuring out something here. A little bit about yourself. You're originally from Massachusetts.
Yes. Yep. I'm born and raised in Lowell, Massachusetts. I've only been in Florida since March of 2018.
So 3 famous guys from Lowell. You, Mickey Ward, and Jack Kerouac.
Yep. Yeah, I'm familiar with both. Jack Kerouac was the famous writer, and then obviously Mickey Ward. If you don't know Mickey Ward, then you must live under a rock. But for those who don't know who he is, famous boxer, obviously.
Did you start training when you were in what age?
13. Long story short, my dad bought me a gym membership to Gold's Gym in Tewksbury, Mass. He had to lie and tell them I was 14 so that they would let me in. And that's pretty much how I got started. He hired a personal trainer for about 8 or 9 months prior to him buying me the membership. He learned as much as he could. And then brought me in and taught me the basics after, spending that time with his trainer.
That's actually pretty good parenting and a pretty good strategy.
Yes, because My original motivation, and he knew this, I was the one that got bullied in school and picked on and stuff, and he knew I was tired of it, and I'd had enough, but I didn't have the means to defend myself. So that was the whole purpose of me going into the gym in the first place, was to accomplish that goal. I had no bodybuilding aspirations whatsoever at age 13. It just kind of materialized and developed into that later on.
Yes, I saw in a previous interview, you're pretty much a geek.
Hardcore. I'm looking at my my video game and book and superhero movie collection as we speak. So, yeah, pretty hardcore nerd.
There's no shame in it, because when I first saw your, this is years ago, when I first saw your IG, Weapon X, I was like, okay, there's a wayward member of Alpha Flight,
Yep. I'm interested to see if anyone understands. So my Instagram, shameless plug, is weaponx_IBB Pro. I'd love to see if anyone in the chat at some point can guess what that reference is. So we'll see. We'll see if anyone comes up with it.
So you started training in high school. Did you play any sports?
Yes, I did. I did football, and I tried out wrestling my freshman year. I did fairly well at it, but the only reason why I left was because the wrestling coach at the time, I just didn't agree with his view on athletes. He had the notion that only the elite of the elite did wrestling and everyone else was crap. And I had friends that did other sports, and I couldn't find myself getting behind someone with that kind of a viewpoint. So I ended up doing, every subsequent season, I did indoor track. So I was football, indoor track, and outdoor track. And the winter and spring sports were to get me better for football. That was all that mattered. But yeah, I was a 3-sport athlete all of high school.
I saw a post with Barry Sanders, about Barry Sanders, on your IG. Were you a running back?
Yeah,
okay.
I was. Yeah, I was a running back in a corner. But after seeing him play, and then my older brother was a star running back at the same high school that I ended up going to. So I always wanted to be like him. He every time he touched the ball was a touchdown. He got all the girls in school. He was popular, and that's growing up. That's what I wanted when I got into high school. My high school life was a little bit different, a little bit.
Well, considering you're 5'5" now.
Yep, somewhere between 5'5" and 5'6".
Yeah, I would imagine that would have been rugged if you were in high school being being a full-time running back, especially in a bigger school.
Yeah, and I mean, in high school, obviously, I was shorter. I was probably, when I got there, I was probably like 5'1" or 5'2". So I was a little guy. I was a little guy.
And you also...
Oh, I just figured out how to open the chat.
Oh, awesome. So you went to UMass?
No, because like I would see comments like come in sporadically, and then they would go away, and I couldn't figure out how to see them again. But I just figured it out. All right, we're good. Go ahead.
So
I'm
you
sorry.
went to UMass for a period of time, pre-law.
Yes, that is true. So I studied law for 3 years, and then it's a long story, but long story short, I did that. Yeah, I wanted to look. My dad preached to people to me, and it was boring. It was boring and tedious, and it was, to me, a passive interest at best. I wanted to switch over into the sciences. All of my close friends in college were either a biology or a chemistry major, but I didn't want to disappoint, my family, so I stuck with law anyway. I wasn't happy, and eventually I just made a decision that I realized that I had to live the rest of my life and do what I need to do for me. No one's going to work, that job for me. No one's going to pay my bills for me. I need to do what's best for me. And that's what led to me. I ended up transferring to Central Connecticut State in Connecticut, obviously. And I switched, my degree to biology and chemistry and got my degree there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult thing to do. I mean, both are quite, you have to be quite into it, but the different parts of the brain, math and science versus law. So you're fairly diverse.
I would say so. Like, I did well in law. It was just boring to me. So I wasn't putting forth I wasn't putting my best foot forward, and I knew that. So if I'm going to spend all that money and go into debt, I might as well go into debt for something that I'm actually going to enjoy. And it's definitely paid off, especially being in the fitness industry now full time.
Excellent. When you were in Connecticut, is that when you started going to Powerhouse, Montanari Brothers?
Yes. So long story short, I was going to this health club type of gym there, and I was starting to max out things there, and I felt like I wasn't living up to the potential that I knew I had. So I needed to find something with a new environment, something that would push me to want to aspire to go further. And a buddy of mine told me about Powerhouse, and I was like, all right, let's go over there one weekend and check it out. And I walked in and I fell in love. However, when I walked in, I realized that there were human beings on this planet that looked like they could eat me. And I had never seen anything like that in person. I've seen the magazines. I've seen Olympias in the past, like when we, had the basic cable boxes and had to watch pay-per-view for everything. So I've seen a couple of Olympias, but I'd never seen anything like that in person. So when I did, I was like, okay, I'm the small fish again. In the health club, I was the big fish. So it gave me something new to shoot for, and they suggested that I should try out competition, that I had good genetics for it. And that's what I ended up doing. Here we are 5 years later.
Yeah, when you stepped into Powerhouse, I've had the opportunity to train there a bunch of times over the years. You're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It was a whole new environment. The weights went up to levels that I had never seen before, and it really pushed me to be better. And that gym essentially created who I am today. In fact, I actually have their tank top on right now.
So did you start competing when you were at Powerhouse in 2014?
Yep. My first show was the Powerhouse Classic in April of 2014. I got there. I hired a coach who was like the lead coach there at the time, and he prepped me for that. It was interesting. Like, I don't like to speak ill or talk bad about anyone, but I definitely, it was when I really learned how a prep was supposed to be, how it's supposed to be structured, how diet's supposed to go, how you're supposed to for it. I wasn't really educated too much in the first few shows that I did. So obviously I was not on stage in the shape that I should have been in. But yeah, my first show was the Powerhouse Classic in April of 2014, and I placed last in that show.
You did 3 shows that year, though, didn't you? Another CT and a Jersey show.
Yes, so I did the Powerhouse Classic. Then the Europa used to be in Hartford at that time. It was the last Europa that they had in Hartford, Connecticut. I did that one. I placed they only gave awards a top 3, and I think I placed 4th or 5th in that show. So obviously I left empty-handed. And then I did the New Jersey. What was the show after that? Man, I did the Hartford. Oh wait, no, we're missing one. I did
Okay.
the CT States, which happened before the Hartford Europa. So CT States, I actually came in second in the light heavies in that show. Then I did the Hartford Europa, came in fourth or fifth. Then I did the New Jersey show, the New Jersey Championships, came in last there. And then I did the East Coast Cup in October, and I came in fourth in heavyweight.
That's a lot of competing for 1 year.
Yes, so April to
Especially
October.
your first year of competition.
Right. That's why I didn't know any better, and the first coach that I had didn't teach me any better, so I didn't know. I just kind of more or less did what he told me to do. When I got with my second coach, who you might know who he is. His name's Gordon Falsetti. He's the current prep coach there. That fifth show that I did in October was the first one that I did with him, and me and him had been together up through me getting my pro card in 2016. So he was the one that really showed me how to prep properly, how to train properly, and just how to sequentially go through a prep from start to finish.
The first time I saw you on stage was the 2015 New England. Now, this was an interesting show.
Ooh, that was a good one.
You were a light heavyweight, and Justin Miller brought up Amit Roy for the show as a middleweight.
Yep.
And I can remember sitting there and we were watching because it was down. It was not close. It was you two. And it was rare for a middleweight to win.
Yes.
You better shape, I believe, bigger. Amit was skinless, though.
He was grainy, very grainy. Speaking of which, both of them are two of my really good friends today. That was actually our first time meeting at that show, and all three of us have been friends since. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But that was a good show. The three of us actually met backstage, and we knew because I had been eyeing him, Amit, backstage, and he had been eyeing me the whole time. And I think I ended up just walking up and introducing myself. And especially after talking to each other, we both knew that one of us was going to win the show. We weren't sure who, but we knew it was going to be one of us, and he ended up coming out with the win. So
yeah, that was very tight. And I believe it was your next show, because the next time I saw you on stage was the 2016 New England.
Yeah, actually, yes, because the 2015 New England's was the last show I did that year. Yeah, so 2016 New England's was the next show that I did pretty much almost a year later. Yeah. That show, as far as I know, people still talk about that to this day. That was a great show. That was a national lineup.
That was a hell of a show.
For sure.
I actually remember really taking notice of you because I'd seen you on stage and we were getting spray tanned the same time the day before the show.
Oh, you had competed at that show too?
You were hitting quarter turns.
Oh, that's awesome.
You were hitting quarter turns perfectly for the tan. Everyone else is half-assing it, just throwing their hands up there. You were popping quarter turns. And I'm look at this kid in the transition. And when you would actually do it, and you would hit a pose while you were being tanned, and you just popped.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember that. I do take my pre-show. I'm gonna call it prep, posing prep or whatever, very seriously. So I know I always look better after a few rounds. So any chance I got to do it, backstage, I did. Plus, it made the tan set easier. So
yeah, I mean that.
But no, that was an awesome show.
Yeah, you came in second to Nate, but you were heavy. Was that planned, or was that just the way it was going to fall? Because the East Coasts were I think a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, And you came in
that was the Eastern USA's.
Eastern USA.
Eastern USA's. That was 3 weeks after New England's. So yes, me coming in as a heavyweight was planned. We actually didn't peak for the New England's. We didn't peak at all. We just went through as if everything was normal because we were trying to get ready for Easterns. That was our only focus. That was our only concern. So I was probably about like 85 to 90% for the New England's. And then I was perfect, 110% perfect at Easterns. That was, up until recently, was my best shape ever, in my opinion.
Yeah. What was I going to say? That show, you ended up losing to Nate, who had you probably, what were you with that show? Like probably barely a heavyweight, like 192, something in that area?
I was 201.
201.
So the cutoff.
Yeah, Nate must have been.
Yeah.
Nate's
As
a heavy. Nate had to be like.
He weighed in at 2. I remember because we're. Yeah, he was 224 and a half.
Okay.
Me and him are good friends too. So, he had told me what he weighed in. We both knew we were heavyweight, so it wasn't that big a deal. But yeah, he told me he weighed in at 224 and a half, and he was like in a sweatsuit or something in his hotel room, making sure he got that last pound off so he can make weight. So he came in just under the radar as a heavyweight.
So then you went on to the Nationals after winning the Easterns.
Yep. And I won light heavies there, and that's where I won my pro card.
Was it a big shock to you? Because you had held back from a national show. You were qualified before this. When you hit the national stage for the first time, was it different?
It was yes and no. No, in the sense of I'm extremely confident in myself. And I go into every show. I would say, with the exception of my very first year competing, I go into pretty much every show expecting to win and expecting that I'm good enough to win. So in that sense, no, it wasn't different. I had a conversation with Steve Weinberger after I won Easterns. He gave me some advice. His advice was treat nationals like it's any other show. If you come in peeled, you're good enough to win. If you try to play the size game, you'll lose. Those were exact words to me. So that's what I did. I made sure that I came in peeled. But to answer the second part of your question, it was different because everybody was in shape. There was absolutely no one in the light heavyweight class that you just looked at and was like, what are you doing here? Why are you on stage? Why are you in this competition? Go home. Every single person was on point. And most of those guys, if not all of them, had won an overall. So that means they beat a heavy and they beat a super heavy. So all of them deserved to be there. All of them were high quality. Everyone was in great shape. So in that sense, it was different.
Now, just back to your posing, you worked with Kenny, right? Kenny Wallach.
Yep. And I still do. I still do. He's also a very good friend of mine. He has a place down here, and I live in Tampa. So he has a place down here in St. Petersburg. I run into him a lot at shows. And we'll if we can't get together in person, sometimes we'll Skype. And he'll take me through my posing like that. I always do my own routines, so that much I do on my own. Excuse me, but he does all my mandatories.
Now, Steve Weinberger also had a bit of a suggestion for you at the end of Nationals, didn't he?
I wouldn't call it a suggestion. It was more like, so we'll see you at the New York Pro in May. And I was like, yeah, I'll see you there. I guess I'm doing the show. But yeah, it wasn't really an option. He pretty much said I was doing the New York Pro. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. So I
First off, that's a big show to take on as your first pro show.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what made me even more excited to do it, because I knew it was, the New York Pro, used to be the Night of Champions. That used to be one of the biggest shows, if not close to as big as the Olympia. So I was really excited to do that, and I knew there was going to be people competing in the show that I knew personally, which is obviously going to make it even that much more fun.
Okay, just interrupt the dialogue for a minute. Dan Dillon asks, who are your bodybuilding mentors?
Wow. If we're just talking about people who I admire, that I follow myself as a fan of the sport, my number one answer is always going to be Dexter Jackson. In my opinion, he's the best bodybuilder to ever walk the face of the planet. Period. The end. You've never seen someone with the same level of consistency that he has with coming in shape. Goku. Yes, Goku's my bodybuilding mentor. But now that I've been in the industry long enough and competed long enough and have been around people in person, people who have actually been mentors to me. One, Dexter Jackson. I've gotten to meet and speak with him on multiple occasions, especially at the Long Beach show, the Legion Sports Fest. He sat down and talked to me for a good amount of time after coming off stage. Jay Cutler is another one who I've met and talked to on multiple occasions. He's given me a lot of good advice and just been a really cool person and a good friend. I would say those would probably be my top two. And then, man, if I had to pick a third one, I'd probably say John Meadows, to be honest. He's been very instrumental in a lot of the things that I've learned in my career and learning how to train better, and also just learning how to manage personal life with bodybuilding, which is an aspect that a lot of people don't think about, especially at the amateur level when they are aspiring to try this for the first time, or, they're in their first year competing. They don't think about the personal aspect of it and how to manage, your family, your friends, and all that stuff, along with the commitment of getting all of your meals in on time. And, your training takes precedence, your meals take precedence, your cardio, everything takes precedence before pretty much anything and anyone else if you're serious about winning. So they really helped me manage a lot of that, or learn how to.
And John has a hell of a comic book collection.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had a little I think it was like last year, we had like a little t-shirt war on Instagram to see who could post more pictures with the nerdier t-shirts. He beat me by a landslide. I underestimated how many t-shirts this man has.
No, it just hit me how much Meadows is kind of like Sabretooth in the whole question in the beginning of the show. The weapon action.
Wait, what was that?
Meadows kind of pulls off that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're definitely...
That's, it's funny you mentioned that. I never really noticed that. I never noticed that until just now. Yeah, because he has like the thick sideburns and stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Okay, so talking about the New York Pro, you came in 10th out of 28 guys.
Yes.
That's a hell of a debut.
That is correct.
That was a deep, deep show.
I will be 110% honest. I realized how that was a good accomplishment. I'm really hard on myself, so I was kind of disappointed in myself. I thought it would turn out a little bit better for me. Now, I understand that there was probably anywhere from 4 to 6 Olympians, established Olympians in that show. But again, I think really highly of myself, and I expect the best out of me. I was definitely bigger. I don't think I was as conditioned as I should have been. So that kind of was part of the disappointment for me. But thinking back on it, I realized how good of an accomplishment that was in my debut. So I don't have any qualms or regrets about that show.
Who were you working with for the New York Pro? Gordon, or had you moved on yet?
No, I was still working with Gordon.
Okay. And then your next show was the Chicago.
I was still working with Gordon. Yep, Chicago Pro, and I was still working with Gordon. That was actually the last show that I worked with him before I switched over to Matt Jansen. And I came in last in Chicago. There was also a lot of personal things going on in my life at the time where I wasn't able to devote my attention to the prep the way that I should have been. So my body was a reflection of stress. It just reflected stress and everything that was happening outside of prep. So, but I just didn't. The reason why I did that show, I really shouldn't have. I should have, with everything that was going on, I should have just called it a year or, at least for a while after the New York Pro. But I wanted to show myself and the people around me that I tell the story to that I was not going to allow personal circumstances and the way people treated me and all the hardships that I was going through at the time. I wasn't going to let those things conquer me. I was going to come out of the other end of all of that on top. And so I was like, I'm doing this show. I'm going to Chicago no matter what, and I'm going to make it happen. And I did. So that was the win for me, to show that I can go through what I went through and still be okay. So that was the whole point of me doing Chicago.
For the viewers out there, you were in some dire straits at that point. I mean, we're talking a little bit more than regular life cortisol type of stress. You were in a position where most people couldn't even function.
Yes.
Let alone.
That is correct. Yep. Long story short, for anyone that hasn't heard the story, I had gone through a really bad breakup with someone who, at the time I felt like she was the one. And then we ended up going through some personal problems, and we ended up splitting. This was like 4 or 5 weeks out from Chicago. Ended up moving into a friend's place. Let's just say that money started disappearing. Wasn't able to pay rent. Had to live out of my car for a small period of time. It wasn't pretty at all. I went through a lot of stuff. But again, I just wanted to show that you can. It's hard for me to have empathy now for people who say, "Oh, it's hard to eat all my meals. It's hard to do the cardio. It's hard." Like, okay, if you have a roof over your head and you have the financial capability of eating more than once a day, I don't really feel sorry for you. You can still get it done. If the end goal means that much to you, you will find a way to get it done, and you won't let all of these other, little minor inconveniences and circumstances control you or control what path you go on. You're going to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, my compliments, man. Hats off to that. There are not many people who could have pulled that off. I mean that.
No, thank you. It wasn't easy, but we made it happen.
So in between the Chicago and last year was Orlando, a lot happened.
Orlando wasn't. Tampa was the next show I did.
Yeah, excuse me, Tampa. Between Chicago and Tampa,
Yep.
happened.
So so at that point, with everything that was going on, I had gotten to a point where I needed a little bit of a change. I needed something different. And I made the decision to move on from Gordon to Matt. Basically what I was looking for a new coach when I finally got all my personal life together. When I started looking for a coach, I knew I needed someone who had experience with Olympians and not only experience with Olympians, but bringing people from nothing to Olympia status. There are a lot of coaches who are acclaimed, and very well known, but it's not too often that you see them take someone from nothing to, the top of the mountain. They usually kind of catch them while they're already pretty good, and then they might, bring them to that next level. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I had been following Matt for a really long time. I have extremely high respect for his philosophy on training, his dedication to his own progression in terms of his training and his diet and improving in shows and stuff, and how he handles himself with his family. I have a huge respect for that, and just how he treats his athletes. Like, it doesn't feel like a coach, a coach-client relationship. You can tell that he genuinely cares about the athlete's success beyond just, making himself look good. Like, he actually wants the people that he works with to do well for them. And that was very evident to me when I was researching and looking into him. And that's even more evident to me now, being an actual athlete of his. So it's definitely been one of the greatest decisions I've made. And it caused a huge turnaround in my career. Anyway, so I moved on to Matt. In the process of all of that, I ended up moving to Florida in March, and I've been here since. Love it here. And I'm not envious of the snow.
And just for those of you who don't know, that's Matt Jansen you're talking about.
Yes, Matt Jansen, yes.
So, yeah, how is it being a masshole move south?
Listen, let me tell you something. I miss aspects of Massachusetts. How familiar are you with Lowell?
I'm fairly familiar with Lowell.
Okay, do you know Espresso Pizza in downtown?
Yes.
Have you ever been there before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Espresso Pizza is the best pizza I've ever had on the planet. I miss that place so much. I used to make regular trips there. There's also this sub shop called Milan Pizza that it's on I think it's off of Merrimack Street, which is also really good. So there's like places like that I miss. I don't miss the snow at all. I'm good right here where I think it's like 71 degrees right now, with a nice light breeze. It's sunny. There's no snow. There's leaves on the trees. This is great. So I will be more than happy to visit back up north between the months of May and September. you can rest assured you'll see me. Once November hits, I don't know.
But there is
but I
a
love it down here.
universal truth. You can't get good pizza anywhere south or west of Philly.
This is a good point. It's funny you mentioned Philly because my girlfriend, who's actually sitting next to me, is from Philly. And she rants and raves that the pizza there is the best pizza in the world. It's the best food she's ever had, best environment, blah, blah, blah. So eventually I'll go check it out and see what all the hype is about.
No, you have to check out Philly. It's a very cool city.
Okay, all right. You're not the first person to say that. I've had her say it. There's a bunch of people that we know down here that are from Philly. So, all right. You got me. I'm gonna visit Philly at some point. I have to because our family's there.
Just don't wear a Red Sox or a Patriots hat.
Oh, I am 110%. I have my Patriots jersey, my custom Patriots jersey in the closet somewhere in there. I am 110% wearing my Patriots jersey. I'm gonna buy a Brady jersey too, just because.
May I recommend?
She's not happy with me right now.
May I recommend a helmet too if you're gonna be wearing a Brady jersey in Philly.
A concussion prevention helmet.
Yes, the concussion prevention
helmet. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll remember that.
Okay, so back on track. You moved to Florida. You were working with Matt. Have you ever made it up to Tennessee to train with Matt at all?
Not yet. That's something that I'm working on. I definitely want to make sure I do that. Within the next month or two. Like I said, I'll be starting prep soon. So, he was just traveling a lot of, with his athletes, with his other athletes. Excuse me. I was, making sure I was settled in here and making sure work was good. Finances were good. Those were my major concerns that I wanted to make sure were in order before I started doing any type of leisurely, things. But yeah, I'll definitely be going up there soon.
So when did you meet Anastasia? I've heard this story. It's kind of cool.
So for all the viewers out there, so I was surfing the web on christianfarmers.com.
Oh my God,
I'm kidding. So no, I moved to Miami for a job offer that I got there. It ended up not working out, obviously, because I'm in Tampa. But I was following the reality of how it happened was I was following this page on Instagram of a gym down there in Miami called Flex Appeal. And they had posted a picture of this chick. And I'm like, yo, who is that? Like, I had gone through her page. I saw videos of how she trains, that she competes as well. Obviously really good looking. I'm like, I have to know who this girl is. So after following her and stuff, I had sent her a message saying, hey, I saw your picture on Flex Appeal's page. You look great. Keep it up. And that was all I said. And I left it alone. And she eventually responded to me. And I forget the exact response that she used, to be honest. But it was it wasn't like thank you so much, and like conversation closed type of deal. Like, she left it open for me to respond and continue the conversation. So I did. And we haven't stopped talking since April 22nd of last year. There has not been a day since then that I haven't talked to her.
April 22nd.
So, and obviously, April 22nd, 2018.
That's burnt into your brain.
Yes, I hollered through the DMs. I 100% slid in the DMs, and it worked out in my favor for once. That's funny. But yeah, that's how we met.
So you guys are obviously keeping house together.
Yep. Man, when did you officially move in? August?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, because I competed in the New York Pro. I mean, not New York Pro. Tampa Pro in August.
Yeah, I was there. I moved in right after that.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Okay, I thought it was before. Anyway, yeah, August. August, she moved in. She moved in with me.
So she met you during prep. So she got to see the worst of you.
On the contrary, we met each other while we were both in prep. So she had done 2 peak weeks already before I had done the Tampa Pro. So she had went through 2 peak weeks. I did the Tampa Pro. She did North Americans after that, and then I did the Legion Sports Fest. So altogether, between the two of us, we've been through 5 peak weeks together. So we have seen the worst of each other. It's definitely not easy at all, but I wouldn't change a thing about how it went. It was very rewarding, and the fact that we were able to see those sides of each other and still love each other just as much as we did, it really cemented for me that we can pretty much work through anything. Because for those of you who have never been through a prep is hard. It sucks, especially towards the end. You have no food. You're especially at the show, you're dehydrated. You're doing a crap ton of cardio usually, and you're just not in a good mood. You're not in the greatest of moods all the time. And then, to have 2 people in that condition under the same roof together, it's not fun. So, that's something, for just word of advice for people looking to compete. think about those things before you as you go through the process, and just try to be considerate of the people around you that have to deal with you, because you may think that you're doing okay and you're easygoing, an easy person to deal with. Everyone else might not. So those are things just to be mindful of as you embark on this journey. But yeah, it wasn't easy, but we made it.
Now, both competitors, how do you feel about that together?
Oh, I love it. I wouldn't when I decided when I got into bodybuilding, after I had been in it for a year, even as an amateur, I had decided that if I was going to date anybody, they had to be either one, a competitor, or two, at least knew enough about the lifestyle to understand what I'm doing. Because I had been in relationships with people who didn't compete and weren't really into the gym like that. So it just creates an environment of jealousy. You know what I mean? What are you doing? Why do you have to go to the gym so much? You can't go out drinking. You can't go out to eat, blah, 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 blah. And it's hard, and I get it. I get where the other side is coming from, but this is my lifestyle. This is what I've chosen to do. It makes me happy. It's important to me from a health standpoint. It's important to me to look the way I do because I want to look this way. So if I'm going to be in a relationship with someone, it has to be with someone who shares that same mindset and that same work ethic and drive for something that I feel passionate for, like that. And it's been the smartest decision that I've ever made in terms from a relationship standpoint.
I definitely agree with you, because being a competitor, it's a lifestyle. You're in it or you're not in it.
Yes. That's right. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, chicken and rice on the couch on a Friday. Is what it is.
Have you been through that? Have you been in competitor, non-competitor relationship before?
Oh, the non-competitor instantly was like, "Oh, you're going to the gym too much."
Yep.
You're obviously attracted to me because I'm a meathead. Now you want me to look like a dad bod. Like, what's going on here?
Hey, listen, this is exactly how I feel about it. So meeting her has been extremely refreshing. And she does not skimp out on training. She trains her ass off. And she moves heavyweight. Not just heavyweight for a chick. She lifts most guys in the gym under the table. She is a strong chick.
I checked out her page. Impressive. And I heard the story of your first date. That cracked me up, man.
So, for anyone who has not heard this story, first date was at the gym. Funny enough, we trained at Miami Iron, and she wanted to do legs. That was like her way of screening me out to make sure that I actually worked as hard as I said I did. And obviously, for the most part, I'm going to be, yeah, you're right, woman. Sorry, not chick. You're right. So obviously I'm going to be stronger than her on most of everything, which was the case. And then we got to walking lunges, and it was probably one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. She put 225 on her back and just started walking with it, just started lunging with it. I've never seen anything like that before. And like, my jaw was just like, what? Like, what's happening? So, and it was that moment that I was like, all right, I got to see what this chick's all about. Like, I don't think she's going to go anywhere. I can't let this one go. So yeah, that was our first date.
It was like a match made by Ronnie Coleman.
Hey, nothing but a peanut. Actually, it was a peanut. It was 2 peanuts. But
so the 2018 season, you did really well at Tampa. You obviously didn't qualify for the O. What were you going to do from there?
Yep. So placed second in Tampa. I lost to Nick by 3 points. Um, and, Matt was kind of hinting towards moving into off season, rebound phase. And I called him up and we had a long conversation. I was like, honestly, Matt, like the fire is not it's not dead. Like it's burning stronger than ever. Like I don't want to go out like this. Like I know that I am Olympia caliber and I want to secure my spot. So, the next show is Legion Sports Fest. It was September 29th and September 30th. I'm like, it's 8 weeks away. If you're down to help me, let's do it. And he was like, say no more. And that was that. And we decided to do Legion. Just so happened a week before Legion, Sean decided that he was going to do the show too. And I'm like, okay. So now I have two, top 10 Olympians because it was him. He had placed 7th at the Olympia. And then Dwayne had he was in his first Olympia and he had placed 10th. So I'm like, all right, so this show just got a lot more interesting. Let's see what we can do. And I went and I got 2nd.
Yeah, that was a good show. Good look. You seemed lighter at that show. You were definitely tighter than Tampa.
I weighed in at 201 at Tampa, and I was on stage at 198. And I was 189 on stage at the Legion Sports Fest.
You were definitely much crisper.
Yes, thank you. I don't know where the 13 pounds went, but I mean, I'll take it.
4 weeks longer of prep, that will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we weren't doing as much cardio actually going into the Legion as we were for Tampa. Tampa, I was up to like 2 hours, like 2.5 hours. Yeah, at one point. And then we never went above an hour and a half a day for going into the Legion. And ironically enough, I ended up losing more weight and got tighter. So observation to keep for this season.
Well, you're a fan of long preps anyway, correct?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but that's what we have always had to do to get me in shape. I have the type of body that wants to put on size, lean body mass, really easy, but it wants to hold on to all the water and the body fat. So, excuse me. So we do longer preps so that hopefully I won't have to diet as hard. I won't have to cut as much food away, I should say. And I won't have to do as much cardio because, as you know, the least stress you put on your body as you can, usually the better off you're going to look when you're on stage.
Yeah, I mean, cruising in seems to be the best theory for most people. Unless you're Dexter, you can get away with a 6-week prep.
Yeah, someone like that, he doesn't really start cutting until, the last 2 months, before the show. I have a client like that too. I actually have 2 clients like that who, like, when it comes to, like, they just stay conditioned. I don't know how it happens. No matter how much I feed them, they stay conditioned. But to put weight on, is hard for them. So, that's usually the challenge. But yeah, I have this new guy who just started with me. He's in his 2nd month, going into his 3rd month, and I am feeding this kid like crazy, and he does not lose condition at all. It's nuts. Sometimes I wish I had that problem, but I like the problem that I have.
Trust me, as a person who can get conditioned fairly easily, but I have to die to gain. So it's definitely a battle. Which one you want to win? One of the.
Yeah, pick your poison.
Okay, so before we get into the 2019, you've got a bunch of things coming up. You've been mentioning coaching right there.
Yes. Yep. So I actually put up a post today. So I had quit my full-time job back in November. So up until November, I was pushing the coaching thing, but not really all that. as hard as I probably should have been. Just trying to rack up clients while still having a steady paycheck coming in. And then, I started getting business started growing a little bit more. And I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do full time. This is what I've been working for. I have 4 different certifications. I have my degree in biology and chemistry. I have this experience as a bodybuilder myself. I'm a professional. Like, we're opening this gym together, which, I'll get into shortly. Let me just do it. Like, I'm just gonna, and I had a lot of encouragement from Anastasia. She was like, basically told me everything I just said to you. Like, this is what you've been working for. Just do it. That's pretty much what she did. And she's been in business for herself for what, 3 years now? How long have you been?
Self-employed a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay. 3 years ago was, yeah. So a year and a half. She's been in business for herself and extremely successful. Extremely successful. So this is what I've been working towards. So I just pulled the trigger and did it. It's probably the scariest thing I've ever done, but it's been very rewarding so far.
Well, stepping out on your own, making your own way in the world is a scary thing, man. Takes some courage.
Yes, very much so. But I'm used to having to exude courage in different situations now. So this was definitely scary, but I'm glad I did it.
I mean, you definitely, like as you said, the certs, the biology, chemistry background, you definitely have the credentials.
Yes, it has come in handy very much.
So you must geek out talking to Matt then.
I mean, we talk a decent amount. I've definitely learned a lot from him. That's another thing too. When I was looking for a coach, I needed someone who I consider myself a very intelligent guy. I'm very educated. I take my continuing education very seriously. So I needed someone who was as smart, if not smarter than me. And that man lives, sleeps, and breathes bodybuilding. That is what he does. That is what he lives for. And that's that. So I've definitely learned a lot from him. And he I ask him questions whenever I can, and he is always prompt and ready to answer anything that I need to know about. So while I wouldn't say geeking out, I've definitely learned a lot from him because he is definitely smarter in different aspects of this arena than I am.
So speaking of flex appeal, you got to drop that bomb?
Yes. So basically, we're waiting on all. So we ordered pretty much most, I would say 90% new equipment. It should be arriving at the end of this month. It'll take us like a week or two to assemble everything, and then we'll open. We'll probably do like a soft opening, and then a hard grand opening where we'll have like a big event and invite different people, different pros, people in the industry that we both know, to help promote it.
Where's it going to be in this Flex Appeal in Tampa area? We have some people here familiar actually are in the Tampa area.
Oh, okay. So it's basically the address for the gym is 1010 East Bush Boulevard, here in Tampa. It's literally down the street from Busch Gardens. Like 5 minutes away from Busch Gardens, on the same road, right off of for anyone local to Tampa that is listening or watching, it's right off of 275. So you get off of Route 275, take a left, and like 3 blocks down. We actually just had the beers put in today, so that's pretty exciting.
What line of equipment did you go with? I'm just curious.
So there we have some Cybex stuff coming in, and we have a lot of Arsenal strength style equipment coming in. Everything's being manufactured and delivered from Brazil, but all of it is Arsenal strength style equipment. I think we have some Prime stuff coming in too. So a lot of Cybex, a lot of Prime. And then
I was going to ask you about Arsenal because I know Matt's a big advocate of it, and the pieces that I've used I really enjoyed.
No, they make phenomenal equipment. I've used some of it in different gyms that I've been to. So I've had a feel for it firsthand. So it's gonna be an awesome gym. There's another question that I get a lot about it is it a bodybuilding gym? Is it a CrossFit gym? Like, what theme are you going for? We're not really going for a theme. We just want to. My goal and my vision for it, and I know it's hers too, is I want it to be a pillar of the community. I want it to be a place where people feel comfortable going to, where they know they are going to leave feeling and being better than they were when they initially walked in. That's what I want it to be. That's all, that's all I care about. So if you come in and you work hard, whatever your goal is, whatever you look like, doesn't matter. If you come in and you bust your butt to be a better version of you, that's what we want. That's what we want it to be. That's the vision that we have for it. Obviously, we're going to be doing different style events like the nutrition seminars, the training seminars, posing, things like that. Your typical competitor friendly events. I know one thing that I definitely want to do is I want to offer tutoring to local students in the area, middle school, high school students that might be having trouble with schoolwork and stuff. Have that be a place where they can come and know that they have another resource that they can utilize. Plus, it keeps them away from the distractions that can happen, out in the real world. And social media is a big thing that distracts kids these days. So we want it to be a place where, as my friend Kevin just said, I'm gonna coin that. I like that phrase. Not only where you can flex your body, but you can flex your mind too. That's my vision for the gym, and that's what I want it to be, and that's what I meant by pillar of the community.
The tutoring is quite commendable. I mean, not only commendable, but I think it's freaking brilliant.
Well, the thing for me, I myself have a passion for wanting to really give back and help the next generation. And, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens out there. And the next generation of kids needs as much guidance from good, solid role models as they can, because the real world is brutal and it's getting more brutal by the day. And with the advent of social media and stuff, it's really hard for parents to kind of govern what their kids are exposed to. So you really don't know what direction they're going to go. But if you put enough positive adult role models in their life, then you have heightened their chances of being a successful person, a successful human being, and a good human being with strong morals and principles and values that they feel confident and courageous enough to stand up for when the time comes for them to stand up for it. That's what I want. And I think, the gym, while also being a fitness arena, can also be a good beacon for that movement. And that's where I'm trying to go with it.
Now, the purely meathead question: how heavy are you going up with the dumbbells? To take it right down to the gutter.
For right now, we're starting off going up to 150, and then as time goes on, I'm gonna obviously purchase, the other ones a pair at a time. It's not cheap, so we're doing what we can now, and then we will expand as we go.
No, but I actually love that educational center of the community thing, like a true community center. For sure. And if we can accomplish that the way I really want to, then that's really all I want. It's great for parents too. They can actually
absolutely.
They're working their body out, and the kids learning algebra.
Absolutely.
Just for
exactly. That's what I see. So we're gonna make it happen.
So up and coming, you mentioned dieting. You're gonna do the New York Pro? I'm trying to do the math in my head.
For now, I mean, it's not a big deal keeping it a secret, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I want to take a different approach with this. There's really no good reason for it. But I will say this. I am not doing the New York Pro. The show that I am doing is after the New York Pro. Is it the next show after? Is it the show after that? I don't know. We'll see. But but I will say that I'm starting prep in about a month. And I just think it'd be fun to have people kind of draw their own conclusions as to what they think I'm gonna be doing. It's not like, trying to surprise people or, do anything like that, because I'm gonna still post all my progress pictures and all that stuff. I just want to just do things a little bit different and see how it comes out. But I thought about doing the New York Pro, and the only reason why I'm not is I really wanted to have that extra month or two to just focus on improving what I needed to improve on based off of the feedback that the judges gave me. I just didn't want to lose out on that. And I'm glad I made that decision, because the lifts that I'm putting up, so if I wanted to prep for New York, I would have had to start prep already. And the lifts that I put up just in the last 2 weeks alone would never have happened if
I have points for next season, correct? Because the Legion is post-Olympia.
Yeah, I have 4 points towards the Olympia. I think I'm third or fourth right now.
There's 2 extra spots. Flex is not competing in the wind, so to speak. We really don't know what's going on with Flex. Jose's retired.
Well, no, he's not retired. He's gonna, from what I understand and from what I've read, he is gonna compete. Jose Raymond is retired, yes. He was fourth, I think. And then he was third the year before that. And I believe he was second or third the year before that. But Flex is doing the Open in 2020. So he's taking all of 2019 off, and in 2020 he'll be doing the Open. But yeah, so those are 2 top 5 spots that are completely wide open and ready for the taking. That third spot sounds really appealing, but that's not what I'm going for. I want to win. And from what I understand, Derik Lunsford is the heir apparent to the throne. Everyone has pretty much written it off that the title is his. I like the guy. I respect him. I've trained with him a couple times. He's a nice person. I'm going to make sure that everyone's prediction does not come to fruition. That is my goal. Period, the end. And no one is going to tell me any different, or that I can't win, or how dare you aspire for something so big in your, if you even qualify, sit down, young buck. No, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for negativity. When I won nationals, that was my first attempt at it, and I told every person that asked me that I was going to win. And everyone told me the same thing then. How dare you? There's going to be people that that have been competing in the national circuit for the last 10 years, 10, 12, 15 years, 8 years, whatever. What makes you think that you're just going to walk in and just win? Because I believe it. That's why. Because I believe in my heart that's meant for me. That's my destiny. And I'm going to go and I'm going to take it. And that's what I did. So I'm approaching going to Vegas in the same exact way.
You're a Pats fan. It's what Tom Brady does. You don't visualize yourself losing.
That's right. That's right. And I don't allow myself to be involved with people who will tell me any different than what I think. So Dan makes a good point. Look at Flex Wheeler and Ronnie Coleman. After Dorian retired, Flex Wheeler had been placed second 2 years in a row. And so everyone was like, hey, this is Flex Wheeler's title. And then Ronnie Coleman goes from 9th to winning it. Anything can happen. So, don't sit on your laurels, okay? I'm coming.
I actually like this. Just as a fan, gotta say, bringing up the heat. Both of you guys in Tampa.
Yep. Yeah, he trains at MI 40, which is about 20-minute drive from me. I train at a there's a powerhouse down here that I train at on Hillsborough Avenue for anyone that's around here. But yeah, we're right next to each other. So, but I fully believe that I have what it takes to not only be one of the best in the world, but to actually win the title. Excuse me. And that's all that matters to me. That's all I care about.
I love your confidence. And as Dan well knows, I'm pulling for all you guys because I pull for American bodybuilders. I know this sounds bad, and I shouldn't be saying this in interviews, but I'm very xenophobic when it comes to
No, listen. There's nothing wrong with that. When was the last time? I mean, obviously, Flex, was not originally from America. He's from Wales, but like even in the Open, when was the last time that there was someone who won the Open that wasn't from America?
Dorian.
I'm really trying to think. Oh yeah, that's right, Dorian. Duh, he's from England. I don't know why I forgot that. That's right. Wow. And then before that was probably what, Samir Banu? Yeah.
And
I think
I'm trying to remember. Was Dickerson Canadian actually?
You know what? Can someone in the chat Google if Chris Dickerson was American or Canadian? I think he was American, but yeah. So there hasn't been that many, but yeah, in the 212, it's pretty much been flexed.
Yeah, Kevin
and only
English,
flex.
David Henry.
So yeah, Kevin English, David Henry, flex, and hopefully me.
I wasn't speaking about
that would
flex.
be nice.
I was talking more along the lines of Ashkenani and Hardy, how everyone says they're just going to come in and sweep the whole thing. I don't agree.
Absolutely no. I mean, if I really like Hardy as a bodybuilder, he's really complete, a little bit blocky, in my opinion, but really complete, huge legs, always comes in shape, condition. Seems like from footage I've seen of him, seems like a pretty humble guy, well liked by his peers. So if he can get this visa situation taken care of, or this whole Middle Eastern ban that's going on gets out of the way, then we can really see what he can do. But it doesn't matter because America's holding is going to hold the 212 Olympia title, and that's that.
I actually love it that there's going to be a competitive thing. Two young guys, same neighborhood, same division.
Yes, yeah. I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped. I'm not happy I wasn't in the Olympia last year. I still have a sour taste in my mouth about that, but we're gonna change that this year.
Excellent. So because I'm like I said, I'm a math guy myself, engineering degree. So I'm doing the week too. So I'm not going to bust anything.
Okay. And the only hint I'll leave is that we are in the mid-20s in terms of weeks out. That I'll say that much.
No,
and
I
I'll leave
respect
it at
what you're doing. It's very Dorian. It's showing up at the day of the show, getting it done. No hype, just boom.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I want to do.
So you're going to have any video game competitions leading up to the season?
As soon as they get announced to me, yeah, I'll. That's funny. Actually, there's one. Now that I think about it, I think there's one like 2 or 3 weeks after the show. I almost said it. I almost said the show I'm doing. After the show that I'm doing. So I think it's in Daytona. I might have to go check that out. But I haven't done one in a couple months. Me and Anastasia have been, traveling and going away a lot. She had clients competing. I had clients competing. So we were always, been on the go the last like 2-3 months. But for a while, like almost every 2 to 3 weeks, I was competing in one. They're a lot of fun. And you get to be around a lot of other hardcore geeks and nerds and stuff. But it's always funny, like when I walk in and like everyone just stares at me all funny, like, what's this guy doing here? Like, I'm here to play. Give me a controller. Let's go.
You look like you could play an actual sport.
That's pretty funny. Like, what are you doing playing video games? Go play football or something, you jock. I'm like, all right, give me a controller. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Predictions for the NFL Final Four we got going on.
All right, we already know who's winning the Super Bowl, so the predictions will be for 2 through 4. But for any of you who are guessing who I might pick, obviously Tom Brady, the New England Patriots. Oh my God, I got something in my eye. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are obviously winning. Someone is not happy that their team got eliminated this past week.
We won last year.
Okay, every squirrel gets a nut. All right, so she's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, obviously, because she's from Philly. So, you know, the Eagles got theirs last year. You know, congratulations, you got your 1 ring. You know, you can still lift your hand up and wave to people because that ring's pretty light. So, you know, when you have 5 rings on your hand, it's kind of hard to move around and do stuff. But, yeah, so New England Patriots and, oh, man, NFC. Honestly, I think the Rams are going to win. I think the Rams are going to win. The Patriots are going to have a tough time with the Chiefs. They are an offensive powerhouse, and what's that kid's name? Patrick Mahomes. He is an absolute monster. He in like 5-6 years, we'll be talking about. I guarantee you, we'll be talking about him as one of the greatest quarterbacks, you know, to ever play, for sure. But yeah, I think the Super Bowl is going to be the Patriots and the Rams, and the Patriots. It's going to be a rematch from when Kurt Warner was still playing, and the Patriots will come out on top. Not the first one.
Oh, what was I going to say?
So that's my prediction.
I agree with you. Even if the the Chiefs somehow beat the Patriots, which I don't see happening, Andy Reid will choke. Well, Andy Reid's the head coach who also calls the plays. And when the moment gets very big, Reid's history is he becomes so myopic in play calling that he loses the scope of the entire game. And that's when it falls apart. Happened to him in Philly, happened to him again in KC.
Huh. And you make a good point. But the Chiefs aren't beating the Patriots. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very high-scoring game.
Oops. We seem to have a freeze issue. Okay, well, I want to thank Derik for coming on. Thank you very much for the coming season. And if you're interested in finding Derik, hit him up on Instagram. He can be found at WeaponX_Wolverine_IFBB Pro. And check him out for his coaching services, personal training, and look for updates at the opening of his gym. Well, thank you very much, Anastasia. And